몇 명이랑 같이 샀어요? 이렇게 무릎하면 죽을 수도 있는데.
저 그러면 집 바로 나가야 돼. 안녕하세요. 저는 한국 사람 김기원.
연구소 에밀리라고 합니다.
미국에서 온 혜린입니다.
안녕하세요. 1, 3.
Well, I'm thinking about America as a whole,
Yeah.
not just Texas, because if we're just talking about Texas, then probably not. But in America, it's very open about everything. Pride Month and sex education as well. We get that in high school. Or at least in my experience, I was knowledgeable in like that kind of thing.
아니요. 심지어 성인이 될 때까지 교육을 받아본 기억도 많이 없어요. Middle school and high school or 6 years in Korea, but I never 1 or 2 education time. 진짜 시간으로 따지면 한 2시간? 거의 없어요. 그냥 받아도 그냥 대충.
한국에는 we do, I think we start learning at like 12. They get the whole school and put us through like big videos about consent. They have lessons about if you offer them tea now and they say afterwards I don't want tea, you still don't shove that tea down their throat, do you? They make that kind of comparison when it comes to consent. Like if you get consent now, later blah blah blah. I think we're extremely educated when it comes to any sexual diseases, the chances of pregnancy, and we're so encouraged to kind of talk to other people about it that we're not really embarrassed to talk about sex with our friends, even if they're male or female. Like we're all sitting and we're just talking about, oh yeah, she's on her period, yeah, she's in pain. It's like, oh yeah, they slept together yesterday. You know, it's just like, oh, I think, yeah, that kind of thing. Everybody hears about it, everybody talks about it. It's really natural. We say, oh, that guy, I think he slept with like 50 people. I think he slept with her too. Oh yeah, I got an implant on my arm. Anything. Anything, whatever you imagine, we probably talked about it with friends, and it was completely fine. It's not considered like weird.
받은 기억이 일단 별로 없고요. 그냥 학교에 커다란 TV가 있었는데 그 TV에서 되게 상투적인 것들 있잖아요. 뭐 어떻게 하면 임신이 되는지 그런 얘기들을 그냥 선생님들조차도 되게 약간 부끄러워하면서 얘기했던 것 같아요. 그냥 막 뭐 어떻게 콘돔을 착용하지 이런 교육을 한다고 나오죠. 근데 저희는 그런 것도 없었거든요. 뭐 했는지 기억도 안 날 정도니까 진짜 거의 안 받았다고 보는 게 맞는 것 같아요. 저도 얘기를 잘 안 꺼내고.
아빠 어떻게 시작할 수 없잖아요.
그렇죠. 운전할 때 말도 제대로 잘 안 하는데 이거 물어보면 지도 않고 얘기를 꺼내볼 생각도 못했어요.
아빠 몇 명이랑 같이 샀어요? 이렇게 무릎하면 죽을 수도 있는데.
저 그러면 집 바로 나가야 돼. 지금 상상했는데 지금 저 지금 식은땀 나요. 식은땀. 딱 머리에서 땀 나는 거. 오 마이 갓.
I remember in 5th grade, my school had this thing for like all of the girls, talking about how our bodies are gonna change, pads and tampons and stuff like that. And then in high school, to graduate, you had to take sex education course, and that's where they would teach you about pregnancy and like diseases, but we never really learned about like consent. So that's interesting. We just kind of learned like the basics.
Yeah, we had AIDS classes, so we had like a lady who had AIDS come to a school, make a whole speech. They would bring like the whole school out to watch this lady talk about actually we should not be against this kind of people. And then we had the consent conversation about 15 times. Then if there's any rumors, for example, of something happening to somebody in school, we're doing it again and again and again until we drill it into your brains how important it is. At home, it was rather a bit of a contrast because my mom did not want to talk about it because she wanted to keep me innocent. So she actually never mentioned it. But honestly, my surroundings, like school and people, kind of educated me more than I think my parents could. The birds and the bees.
I remember I was driving in the car with my dad and he brought it up. He's like, do you know about this? And I just went, no. And then he just stopped. I cut it off very quickly. But no, not really. He tried and I said no, and that's it.
We have brought stuff up, but they knew that I knew. But once, for example, I found condoms in my house and I brought it up to my dad. And he was like, yeah, so what? He was like, it's normal. And I was like, you know, I was the one being like, yeah. And my dad was like, I'm married. And I was like, no, but you know what?
이러면서 약간 남자애들 같은 경우는 남중남고를 나거든요. 그거에서 배울 생각을 안 하는 것 같아요. They always learn in other videos, so they don't want to hear the class.
We were like typical teenager. We were like kind of just grossed out, right?
Or ha.
I remember they would show us just the scary side of everything Texas. So they would show us pictures of the diseases and stuff. So we would all be like scared and like grossed out. We'd like like look at it and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't really think we learned too much because there was like a few pregnancies my graduating year of high school. There was like 3.
We had to make songs about it. Really? So how to use protection, they're like, just pulling out is not protection. You have to. There's like 5 different methods of it. And they would literally have to make songs about it. If we started laughing, if we were young, and be like, the teacher, so she would be like, stop laughing. It's not funny. It's natural. Okay. We would also talk about LGBT inclusivity. It was just like everything and how they should protect themselves and how diseases can pass from LGBT.
Wow.
Even like between men, for example, getting AIDS is much easier than between men and women because it's gone from micro tears. Everything possibly that we could have learned, we probably did.
진짜 되게 폭넓게 배우네요, 엄청.
Because it is natural. And the thing is, the more you go like, oh my God, the more chances are that people don't actually learn and they commit mistakes.
Right.
It's not funny. We are educated like that. It's just like, if you got it, you bleed.
It's
If you do
natural.
this happens.
되게 좋은 것 같아요.
그렇죠.
그러니까 말을 안 하고 안 가르치니까 사실은 얘기해도 되나 이런 건데 옛날에 이제 저 이제 막 중고등학교 다닐 때는 그 청소년들이 콘돔 사는 게 되게 어디서 사야 되는지도 모르고 어려워하니까 지하철에 있는 자판기가 있었거든요. 거기에서 사고 그랬었던 걸로 알고 있어요. 약국 들어가면 사실 아저씨들이 뭐라 했을걸요, 옛날에도. 애기들인데 이런 거 사냐고. 지금도 그럴 수도 있어요, 심지어. 당연한 거잖아요. 그리고 콘돔 같은 걸 구매해서 잘 사용하는 법을 알아야 원치 않는 임신이라든지 이런 것들을 막을 수 있는데, 그래서 미국이나 영국에서 하는 것처럼 당연스럽게만 얘기해줘도 애들 입장에서는 더 빨리 배우니까 그런 것도 할 텐데 좀 설명해주면 좋지 않을까 라는 생각이 드네요.
But the thing is, Korea is a very sexual country where everybody does hush hush. Like, I've never seen the country so many sex shops in my life, like everywhere. But in Korea, there's sex shops everywhere. Exactly. So they're not protecting themselves.
그게 되게
Everybody's sleeping
문제네요,
around.
어떻게 보면.
I have so many friends in Korea that sleep around, and I'm just like, I'm getting stressed seeing them do it. Like, you have been protecting yourself, right? They're like, oh yeah, he pulls out. I'm like, that is not protection. People don't understand the seriousness and like the consequences that sex can bring. And Koreans just find it kind of like a joke, like, oh, ha ha, it's gonna be fine. Like everything is fixed by laughing it off. That's why in Korea you get so many people that get into a lot of trouble because of it.
근데 진짜 성격 안 된 게 좀 큰 것 같아. 이렇게 들으니까. 막 애기들 같은 경우는 이제 어떻게 위험한지도 모르고 조심해야 될 부분들을 모르니까 저도 약간 본 게 있는 게 영화관 아르바이트를 길게 했었는데 계단에서 어린 친구들이 그럴 장면을 목격을 제가 한 거죠. 이렇게 하니까 알죠, 사실 제 입장에서는. 그게 잘못된 건 아니더라도 그걸 어떻게 조심해야 되는지 그게 없는 건데 그런 것들은 전혀 뭐가 위험한지에 대해서 인지를 못하고 있는 거니까 그래서 그런 게 더 무분별하게 많아지지 않을까.
Just like everybody still finds it funny when it's not funny.
아니요. 친구들끼리도 거의 얘기 안 해요. 얘기를 많이 하면 너 왜 그런 얘기 하고 다니냐 이렇게 하는 사람들이 훨씬 많을걸요. 학교 다닐 때도 그랬고 부러운 게 뭘 조심해야 되는지 이런 거에 대해서 얘기를 할 수 있고 그런 과정을 겪지 못하다 보니까 지금에서야 가르쳐주고 하라고 해도 되게 어려울 것 같아요.
I think it's pretty open. In my life, me and my friends are really open. You know, with my parents, with my mom, really open and like comfortable. It's just like natural thing. You know, we're both women, so if anything needs to be discussed.
My mom does not want to know. She's like, I would say my mom is like a Korean lady. I would talk to my dad.
그게 더 대단한데요?
Because he's concerned for my safety as well, right? So if I did, for example, start having sexual relationships, my dad would be like, ooh, like I know you're an adult, but like, of course he wouldn't want to know about it, but he still would want to be concerned. So we'd be willing to have a conversation.
제가 이렇게 자연스럽게 되게 어려울 것 같고 길게 봤을 때 교육이나 얘기하는 것들이 좀 거리낌 없어지면 지금 한국에서는 되게 그렇게 얘기할 게 아니다 이런 식으로 많이 하잖아요. 이렇게 셋이 모여서 얘기를 편하게 할 수 있는 것처럼 이런 분위기가 되면 많은 문제들이 좀 해결이 되지 않을까라는 생각이 들어요.
But I think it will change in Korea with the new generation coming in. So today we talked about the sexual education and the actual perspective of people in different countries. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and write in the comments your opinion and what do you think about what we talked about. Anyway, see you next time. Bye!
Bye!